played for such a long time now. No. Yeah, well, Henry Mancini, what a genius, hey? The range in that song. He wrote a whole deal around there, went around the world. I mean, I first heard that first Pink Panther thing when I was on holiday in Italy, never dreaming that I would get the next 3 movies, and turned up at Wembley to find, I think it must have been about 150-piece orchestra, strings and brass and rhythm section, and I'd been booked to play the double bass and the electric bass, and I don't know how I got the gig, but Henry obviously liked it because I got the next one as well, and the one after that, and on the third, I think it was the third or the second go at it, he said to me, "Oh, David, I'd like you to play a solo, make something up." I went, "Oh, okay," and what is it? He said, "Well, it's a nightclub scene," so he showed me the film. He showed me the thing and gave me a click track and all of that, and so we went, "Oh, okay, we'll do something in G, and it'll be like a funky thing, you know, because it was all supposed to be exciting music." And he kept it and used it in the film. I was just so proud, and he was very very complimentary about that, and oh, it was lovely. What a absolute gentleman, and a genius, of course. And he sent me his love from New York via Johnny Dankworth. So Henry sends his love, David, because at the time I'd been working with Dankworth and Cleo Lane, and there was that classical guitar player, John Williams. But I'd done about 3 albums with them, and it was all very, very nice. So that was Henry, dear Henry. He died, you know, obviously later. But it's a very fond memory I have of being very honoured, really, to actually play that thing. And this is the bass. I mean, you know, it's the Pink Panther bass. There ain't another one of these around. This is it. So if you want genuine Pink Panther stuff, this is your baby. It's a beautiful instrument, 1962. It's an L series, and the serial number on it is 00538. It has the best neck that I've ever played on any bass. It's absolutely beautiful. It just sits there, nice and light, comfy. You could spend 10 hours a day on this bass and not get tired, and I have. And you know, there was a time when session work in London was so prolific that you could do an 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock jingle in the morning. And one of those jingles I did on this bass was a thing called Blue Jeans On for think it might have been Tony Hatch, but it ended up being a single in the end. And he took my bass line and used that, and la la la. I got 25 quid for the session, usual story. Yeah, jeans on. What was that? Levi's, I think, or Wranglers. I can't remember. I think it might have been Levi's. So I, you know, everything I did from around about 69 right the way through to 79 was done on this bass. And I think the first time I ever used it was some Christmas music for a guy called Alan Price, who used to be the keyboard player with the Animals. And at the time he was working with Georgie Fame, and they had Fame and Price together. I was in that band, and we did a film called Oh Lucky Man, which I thought was a really very weird film, but I got some solo spots on that. It was engineered at Olympic Studios in Barnes by Keith Green, who was Keith Grant, not Keith Green. Keith Grant, who was a fantastic engineer. My God, the sound he got out of this instrument was absolutely wonderful. One of the tracks I'm proud of on that is a thing called Sell, Sell, Sell. And it's very, I thought I'd tip me out to James Jameson, and I used a lot of his licks in there, and put in a couple of my own, and it really did well. In fact, actually I got an email from a fan the other day saying it's one of my best, you know, it's one of my most favourite bass lines and things, and well, I can't even remember what it was now, but it was something funky again. And then eventually, wow, I got a call from a really famous producer called Glyn Johns, who, his son Ethan is now a producer. If you're looking at this, Ethan, hello, and give us a call sometime. I got a call from Glyn, and he said, oh hello, he said, oh, I know what had happened. I'd done a session at Island Studios for Georgie Fame, that's right. And that was a funny one. It was a funny story because we spent the whole evening, 7 o'clock in the evening, till 10:30 or so in the studio with Clive, Georgie Fame, cutting this track. And we went off for a break, and when we came back we couldn't find the multi-track. Now don't ask me what had happened, I hadn't a clue. But maybe it was something political going on or something, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but the session was over at that point because the multi-track we just spent, you know, 2 or 3 hours on had disappeared. Disappeared. Can you imagine that? Like 24 track, you know, like this, 2-inch tape, just gone. Anyway, so I got a call from Glyn after that because Georgie Fame had recommended me to Glyn, and he rung me up one evening and he said, I've got this young girl singer from St Kitts. He said, I want you to come and try out and see if you like can help me with her stuff. And I got to Olympic Studios in Barnes. Glyn always used to record there because of the desk. It was an old Helios desk, beautiful thing. Anyway, I got there and there's Joan Armatrading sitting there, and I think that night we cut something, I can't remember what it was, off her first album. And Dave Mattox was on drums. I remember that very clearly because me and Dave got on so well, you know, artistically, and we'd think the same. We'd work stuff out to do on the track. And anyway, the second or third night I got there, she got 2 scraps of paper, and she had a few lyrics on it and stuff like that, and these are the chords, and we tried to work it out. There's a guy called Tim Hinckley, an American guy, I think it was Tim, on keyboards. Maybe it wasn't Tim. Anyway, whatever the keyboard player was, had worked out this sort of chord progression, and he'd put in these sort of strange notes. Well, I just left college, so I was pretty up on the composition side of things at that point. I've been in college for 3 years studying, anyway, I just said, oh look, why don't we do so and so, and why don't we do so and so, and why don't we do so and so, and all the rest of it. And Glyn, I think Glyn got a bit impatient, and but Joan said to him, no, let him carry on. So I got really stuck in, and the track that we did was Love and Affection. Now I think that was the very first time, I think one of the very first times, if not the first time, a chorus pedal was actually used on the bass. This is the bass. The chorus pedal belonged to Glyn, so I never owned it. It was an old Boss chorus, the analogue chorus, about that big, gunmetal grey sort of finish, or gunmetal light blue. But we just got this incredible sonorous sound out of it. Now, Jaco Pastorius, God rest his soul, used to have one of these, but he carved all the frets off it, and he used the chorus later. So he sort of copied me, which is, I mean, you hear that first album of his, he goes, the opening of the album goes something like, if you remember that, it's the very first time you ever heard that. Remember? Anyway, he had one of these, 62. He used to call it the bass of doom. Silly bugger.